the best players in the world, the final 6, as we start here and see who will win Trackmania Grand League Spring 2022 Finals.
Yes, going into the first... Oh, we have 10 seconds left here, but we're once again going to see the players go to the right side of that first bush. And they're going to do that because, as you said, it does save 0.2. They're going to be looking for not hitting the bush, of course, but on the right side of the bush, there's actually a little water block that the players can clip their right wheel on. And if that happens as well, they're also going to be out the round. It does look like all the players are doing just fine. Carl Jr. going pretty wide in the start, and he's going to lose several tenths because of that. And he's going to be in the back of the field. Pack now in the front, together with Mime. Mime once again showing that he has the pace here to be in the front, actually overtaking for first place. But the top 4 situation right here is so close. It is hard to call who's going to be the winner as of right now. Going into the bobsleigh section, Mime in front. Who's going to get the most exit speed? They're going to be looking to get enough speed to jump far, but if they have a little bit too much, they're going to hit the top of that CP block, and they're going to have to release in the air. And if you release in the air in Trackmania, you lose a bunch of speed going into the engine off section to see who gets the most exit speed. Bren not getting it quite well. Mime continues to be in the front. Let's see if he can get the identity down.
Oh, Pack, though, challenging with the low jump. That was a flexible move. Let's see if you can get the ending right. You got to approach it far to the right for the booster and then hit as much dirt as possible. Pack looks like he has the speed. Some speed slides as well to hold the lead, but a 107.80. And Pack is starting us off with a banger. That is a great time.
107.80 is an incredibly great time. That is like top 3 or something like that.
The world record is 72 by Massa. So yeah, by all means, a fantastic time. But what Pack is doing there is something all the other players know success on the track, but none of them dare to do it because it's so hard to do consistently. He's jumping off the side of the ramp to reduce airtime. A ramp cut, we call it, as you try to reduce airtime, land earlier on the next part, and just carries more speed. But doing that consistently round after round is incredibly precise. So let's see if you can do it here in the next one as well.
But that's what we talked about. It's one of these momentum-based snowball maps where if you can see a place and an opportunity to get more exit speed and you think you can go for it, going for it and getting that exit speed is going to increase your lead or at least catch up to the people in front so much. Pack actually going super wide. It's not going to be able to make the turn. Bren in front right now. Bren or Mutta and Mime 0.2 behind. But they're trying to close the gap. Bren is going to maintain his lead. Mutta actually getting really close to him. Is Bren going to be able to make it in right now? Mutta with a mistake. Bren keeps his lead. Is actually super far ahead. Kappa trying to close in the gap. But Bren is going to be able to take it home with a 107.9. Bren now with a point to his name.
There's another 107. Back-to-back winning times here. That is incredible. It might be better than some people's personal bests here in the field. And doing it consistently is going to be a very tough task for all of them. At least they managed to start, though. No one falling out here yet. So we have an even field into the next round, but it's really just about all the details. If you think about the difference between a 107 and a 109, it's just gaining about a tenth in every turn, going high enough on the banking, carrying that speed, going smooth enough through this plastic turn, and hitting the exit point, canceling the slide on the downhill, and carrying this speed into the bobsleigh. Now entering it properly and holding about 40% steering through the entire turn, just doing all these details. Mime going very far, had to release, but he survives the jump, and he's right up there with Bren in the battle for first. Into the ice slide. You can either go high here or pretty low to the freewheeling. Mime going from the low line, and Bren coming back with more speed from the high line up into first once again. But look at this line from Pack now. It's going to try, but this time it goes awry. He does not get the ramp cut like he needs to in order to win the round. It's still Bren. Could get 2 in a row here into the quicksand. Mime is going to try his best to challenge it, and he is getting very close here. Hits more dirt than Bren, but Bren has a better trajectory to the finish, and Bren will take it with another 107.
The pace is incredible by these players at the moment. They're really showing us that the top 6 are meant to be in the top 6. But as of right now, only 2 players have any points to their name. And Bren is showing us that once again, just as the last match right here, he's taking 2 points to his name in the very first map. It's incredible to see him do that already. But as I say that, Mime is pushing himself up into the lead. And as you've said, the bobsleigh with the 40% steering, I actually thought about that. Is 40% steering the best with the action key, or can you do better with a controller? Because they're jumping into it right now.
You can actually do a little bit better with the controller if you're precise with it, but 40% is kind of the ballpark you are aiming for here. But really, I don't think the players think about percentage. It's just about feeling. You feel it when you have the optimal grip on it. Pack here, hitting the wall a little bit and having to be forced to go for an inside line. That is just going to bleed time, unfortunately, and he's out of the fight. It's once again Bren up in the fight for first, but this time he misses the drift approach and will crash out. Mime versus Mutta to duke this one out, and Mime has a big lead to work with. Just needs to secure the end. Good setup for the second turn, and that should be Mime getting on the board with a point of his own, and a fantastic time as well. That's 107.8.
Yes, I actually saw Mutta going for a very aggressive line in the ending, trying to overtake. It almost worked. He did clip a little bit of the booster block side, unfortunately, but you can really see the players. They are aware of the splits on the right side of their screen. They are aware of, like, okay, I have to push out this 1/10 or 2/10 or 500s in the ending, and they're able to you know, pick up some strategies that they have up their sleeve and pull them out when they need to. And it's incredible to see that the players, even though they're driving the pace they're driving, they still have these small tactics, these small risks that they can go for to push out if they need to.
And this is an interesting round. Everybody's falling like flies, Janik. We have Mime and Pack crashing in the start together with Bren, and now Kappa crashed as well. So it's two players left really fighting for it, Mutta and Carl. But either way, someone without points is going to get one here and level the playing field. Mutta with a great lead against Carl. That's 0.4. I think Mutta knows now that he does not need to gain more time. He just needs to try to save. And Carl is going to get a bit closer. But as long as Mutta remains ahead, that is enough to take the points. Let's see if he can do it in the last turns. Carl is getting very close, but Mutta pushes the brakes just enough to make sure he doesn't crash to the end. And a point is a point. He takes it. He's on the board.
Yes. And we saw Carl Jr. do it right there again. Going for a very, very tight line before the second red booster in the identity. It is super risky, but it does save you a little bit of time. And Carl Jr. was close and did close in on Mutta with it. And that's what we're talking about. The small little adjustments that the players, they can pull out if they notice that they have the opportunity to overtake. And those small little things, they might seem small to us. They might seem like, oh, he's just turning a little faster, but it's so difficult to pull out, especially once you've gotten into a rhythm with a specific line on a specific map. Having to pull out this last minute technique in the end of a minute-long map is not easy.
It's really not, and we've seen players being like super promising positions, having 2-second leads, and then throwing them away because they're not really aware of where their opponents are, what their surroundings are. So like, knowing there that you have 0.4 and knowing, okay, I'm going to lose 0.2 in the ending just to make sure I go a bit wider in each turn, I don't fail it, and you still get the point is really well played. It shows constraint, which is something you need here. But on Water Glider, all you need is really pace, because Mime is going to have pace, and if you want to pick up points, this is the man to beat. He drove a 57.43 in a round earlier. The world record 57.14, I believe. So Mime is one of the fastest on this map. But right here in the first round, fell about half a second behind. Now into the uphill, he will crash out. And any others might, because it is a hard one. Mutta slides out. And it's Pack versus Bren, top two here. Let's see if Bren can make the comeback happen.
Yeah, but Pack has a healthy lead going into the identity. Bren trying to pressure him a little bit, but if Pack can get a good inside line, he can. Bren trying to attack, but unfortunately slides out there on the water, and Pack just needs a hop, skip, and a jump into the finish, and he's going to take the first point here on Water Glider.
And a 57.5 to start us off. Pack also showing good pace. That is enough to keep up with Mime's pace if Mime does a clean run. So Pack, one of the strongest players here by the looks of it. And we're seeing how the match develops. The top 4 players will advance. You need 4 points to secure yourself a spot. And right now, Carl is still on 0 points as he hits the wall again here. And he is falling a little bit behind the curve in terms of where he wants to be. Same for Kappa, yet to get his first point.
Yeah, and as we've talked about, Carl Jr. and Kappa, both of them are household names in the Trackmania community. They fought against each other again and again, and it's weird to see them both at 0 points here in the top 6, but nothing is over yet. They can definitely come back. The later maps might be suited more well towards them. Pack right now in the lead. I think I saw Mime there with a mistake. Mutta trying to attack Pack here in the front. It's going to be neck and neck going into the identity. Pack going a little bit too wide, and Mutta is now in the lead, fighting with Bren, who's going to get the best inside line right here. Mutta does it super well. Bren sliding out, and Mutta's only 1 jump away from getting it, and he does seem to be doing it. Mutta getting a new best time here on the map with a 57.54.
And it's so interesting to see to me when a player drives a fast time and then another player comes back and drives an even faster time. Like, they know where the bar is at. It's almost like watching a high jumping competition where your opponent raises the bar and then you put it 1 step higher and still clear it with ease, you know? It's a fantastic thing to watch, and Mutta here shows that he's here to play. Mime crashes out, but really all eyes on Carl, I think, this round, because he needs points before he falls behind. It's going to be an impossible comeback soon.
Yeah, and every single point matters at the moment. Every single point that doesn't go to you puts pressure on your shoulders to get the next one, especially if you don't have any points yet. So Carl Jr. and Kappa are really looking to close down some points as soon as possible. As we see Bren in the lead, Carl Jr. here on third, second actually right now, fighting with Mutta, but Bren is 0.2 behind as they go into the identity.
Oh, Bren can get this one. 1500s in his favor. Could be the first finalist of the match. Carl, though, right on his heels, Mutta as well, but they lack the speed. Carl with a good approach for the first one. On the second one, he's going to take it away. Carl is back, and he's here to play. He gets a very important point there. Clutches it out and gets on the board at last.
What a beautiful finishing line there from Carl Jr. Getting a little bit of a wider setup, but is able to set it up better for the upcoming turn, and subsequently gives him more speed going into the finish, getting that overtake. Very nicely done by Carl Jr. Sometimes you have to adjust for the lines that your card gives you, because it's so difficult to get a very specific and a very calculated line there on the water, and Carl Jr. adjusts very well to it.
And that's what really separates the best here from good players, is the foresight to take a line that can lose you a 10th early on, but then gain you 1500s back over the next 10 seconds. It's kind of like just this natural understanding of fast racing lines. As we see a couple of crashes, many crashes at that.
Oh my God.
Everybody's falling. It's only Mime up in, Mutta up in first as Mime hits the wall, and Mutta is on the path here to finalist. Just needs to save this one. 2 seconds of a lead to everybody else, and he's going to keep the grip. Take a inside approach. He even releases here. Mutta knows it. There's no point risking, and it's a safe point. He's finalist.
But that just goes to show that he is aware of the opponents, and he is aware that, you know, he had 2 seconds to spare. Slowing down, even releasing completely to make sure you don't slide out at all, was more than enough for him to get that first place and putting himself in finalist position. And just seeing that finalist on your opponent is gonna put pressure on the other players.
Absolutely. Mutta has played fantastic so far, and you know the map is drawing to a close when one player gets finalist. You know, okay, I'm still at 1 point, I'm still at 2 points, he's finalist, we could be going out here, we gotta step it up. But Mutta has some good maps coming up later as well. Of course, we saw him do really well on Tiny Gap. That might be his best one, and it hasn't been played yet. So if he can close it out here, another opportunity coming up later. Mime hits the wall. Mutta might just be able to close it out now, though, as he is in first. Kappa is the closest behind him with Carl, but they are pretty far, and they are trailing right now behind Mutta on his first finalist attempt. Is he going to go straight to the top 4? Needs to hit the water part right to get it. Carl sniped Bren here earlier on. Is he going to snipe Mutta? It might just be on the final turn, and he will. Carl plays denial once again. 200s is enough to take it away, and Mutta is not going to the top 4 before Carl has his say here.
What a great ending once again by Carl Jr. He notices that his car grabbed that water and had the grip, and he just presses that accelerator and just flies a little bit earlier than the others. And because he accelerates a little bit earlier than the others, that's gonna give him more speed throughout that entire ending. And that is what pushed him just a little bit ahead of Mutta. But that little bit is all you need to get first, and he will take that home, denying Mutta the victory.
Oh, it's shaping up to be a very close match here. as Carl now joins the others on 2 points. Mime's still on 1, and he started out with an early point, but now he's fallen a little behind the curve again. Kappa still on 0 points, but this is one of his better maps. We saw him able to win a lot of rounds here to get into the final 6, even with good winning times. So this could be Kappa's opportunity to come back and make it a very even match, Danik.
Yes, and you gotta think that Carl Jr. is incredibly happy with that last map, getting 2 points, and is now not looking as bad as he did a second ago. Already we can see that his pace is up at the top, but Bren actually shoots out ahead of the rest of the players, trying to extend his lead on the rest of the field. Is now in front, going into this drift section where you want as much exit speed once again as possible, going into the uphill to catapult yourself through that CB. Pack actually getting a lot of speed and is almost able to get up to first place, getting the grip going into the last identity section. Pack on first.
And Carl Jr. has a very difficult line to work with, but Pack is the first to crash there. Carl still in the lead by 0.14. Kappa making a mistake, and it is going to be only Mutta chasing, but a half a second behind. Carl should be able to secure this win and become the second finalist of the match with a great winning time as well. 0.4 is only 3/10 away from the world record at the moment.
Yeah, and Carl Jr. in just I think 4 rounds has shot himself up to a finalist position. Incredibly well played by Carl Jr. He is pushing it to the limit at the moment, saying that he does not want to stand in the same situation as before, having multiple people get the victory before he does. He's trying to push himself up to be able to not have that pressure on his shoulders, and you know that the other players seeing Carl Jr. in that finalist position all of a sudden is going to put pressure on their shoulders as well.
And Carl going from being almost in last in the field to now finalist in just 2 rounds has got to give him a great feeling of momentum. He knows this is now very doable. He knows he just needs 1 more win. And Carl, when he is like that, is like a predator chasing prey. He is hungry to try to close it out. Right now, Pack, the only player standing between him and the win, but he makes a mistake, and Carl is now on the victory path to go into the top 4 of this Trackmania Grand League playoffs. Mutta, the other finalist, right on his heels, chasing him. The last jump. Can Mutta make a comeback happen? He's still trying, but it will be Carl, the first qualified player into the top 4.
Incredible performance by Carl, going from 0 points and us being a little bit worried on his behalf to getting the first victory here in the top 6 in just the span of a couple of maps.
Yeah, Carl makes the comeback happen. And
that's
we
crazy.
keep saying it, that betting against Carl Jr. is generally a bad idea. There's a reason he's won 4 World Championships, 5 Serrato Cups, and 3 Trackmania Grand League trophies, and it is because he is just that good. When it counts, when it matters, he does not falter. 3 spots left to fight for, 5 players left in the field, and we see Kappa still on 0 points, but if he gets a win here, it is anyone's game. So at that point, it is so close, and Pack has had great pace in all the rounds up until now, but needs to close it out in the end. He keeps crashing that water bit, and you wonder what does to his mental. Can he get past that obstacle now? The setup, it needs to be there for him this time, and he gets through it now. Only the parkouring part left to do. The jump onto the plank, transition to the platform, carry the speed up on the next plank. Kappa will overtake Pack in the ending, and Pack is going to have it stolen away from him. Kappa gets on the board.
Kappa, with a very important point to his name now, is now back in the field, and you know Kappa is so happy with that point. That is very important, and he now is maybe feeling the momentum a little bit. Let's see if he's going to be able to get back into the field as of right now, but as you've said, Pack has incredible pace on this map, and Pack does something on the drift into the uphill that gives him like an incredible amount of speed. He always overtakes people on that part, and I do want to see what it is that he does right there, but as of right now, he's fighting with Mutta for that P1 position. Top 3 players 0.1 away from each other. It's such a tight field going into this drift section where Pack is going to set up wide to get a lot of exit speed. You see it right here.
Oh, he's going like a rocket into first place. Beautiful setup as you were able to see there, and now He does have the lead once again, but that water part has been problematic. He carries so much speed here into the water part that you just have to commit. You have to think, now's the time to go. He gets that timing right. He is in first. The checkpoint splits are amazing. Mime is also driving an amazing run here, but Pack is just still a little bit ahead, and this time he will finally get the reward for his efforts. Pack wins with a 1:03.23, a 10th away from the world record, and putting him well deservedly into finalists.
Yes, and a top 3 world at that. That's an incredible time there coming from Pack, showing us, you know, that Virtual was right when he said Pack had some incredible pace on this map, and it's now a double finalist situation. The other players are gonna be looking to deny them as much as possible. Once again, there's only 4 spots into the next, like, that you can get here into the next match. So only 3 more players can get through, Carl Jr. being one of the 4 people who was already qualified, and Pack is really trying to qualify here on this map. He's in front already, once again going into this drift section where he's gonna set up wide, trying to get as much speed into the downhill to get a good uphill right here. Kappa actually getting such a good line and is now overtaking Pack and is now shooting himself up into first. Very, very good line there from Kappa. Is he going to be able to maintain that ground contact? He is, but he's neck and neck with Pack going into the identity. Pack actually overtaking an inside line here on the dirt, going into the jumps right now. It's going to be Pack or Kappa. Kappa actually flying out, and it's now going to be Mudder trying to pressure Pack, but Pack has a good line, and he's going to be able to maintain first place. Pack is now also a victor and one of the top 4 people.
Pack just got 3 points in a row. Easy clap. He goes on to join Carl Jr. in the top 4. A really, really good map there for him, and people's looking unstoppable on Heart.
Yeah, that's some incredible pace there. But as we've talked about, you know, some of these maps are more preferable for some of the players, and some of the players have these lines. We saw Pack's line there on the drift that might have helped him gain even if it's just 500ths or 1/10. That's still an incredible amount of time in this field because everybody's so tight. So if you have a map where you know you can squeeze out a little bit extra in one of the turns, or like have a little bit extra of a risk where you know that you can do it, that's going to be so essential. And it did look like Pack had that going for him on Hard.
There's just 2 maps left now in the map pack, and we are on Tiny Gap. The other one is Touchdown. This is a map where Mudda picked it last time as his first choice. Kappa has won this one 3 times in the regular season, so did Mudda. They're undefeated there, but Bren was looking really quick on it last time, and if Bren now wins as well, that puts Mudda as the first person to reach finalists, but perhaps the last to close it out. There's a lot of pressure on him here, and he has to try to keep up with Bren, who was the fastest player by far when we had 8 players on the field, 9 players rather. Look at him here again in the top 2 battle, but Mudda just needs to beat him once to make it to the top 4.
Mime unfortunate with a mistake. Bren also with a mistake. And Mudda is now going to be all alone in the front. 0.3 down to Kappa. Is he going to be able to maintain the lead? He still has the identity that he has to work with. 0.4 extending his lead actually. 1 left-handed drift. And then it's the identity. Is Mudda going to be able to make it? Or is Parker going to be able to overtake? Mudda sets up nice. Is going to be able to land it. And he is also driving it all the way home. Mudda closing out his finalist position and being the 3rd winner here, and stepping into the top 4.
Mudda finally gets through into the final 4. He had 2nd place a lot of times in a row, just beaten by Carl, then beaten by Kappa, but this time the cards land just as he wanted them to, and he gets the advancement. 1 spot left. Bren currently on 2 points. Mime and Kappa on 1. First to 4 points wins now. So it is getting very close between them. Bren usually has good pace in the start. You can see him getting a 10th yet again here against his opponents. Kappa made a mistake, struggling to keep up. Mime has to now try to deny Bren, or else he will enter finalist mode with a bit less speed before the quarter pipes. That gap is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and you know, Mime does see Bren's pace here on this map, so he knows he has to fight for it, but Mime actually makes a mistake, and Bren is now going to be all alone in front. Once again, he just needs the identity down. 1 second down to 2nd place, so Bren can afford to go a little bit slower, but it is never safe when it comes down to jumping into this tiny gap. It does look like Bren has it down and is going to be able to close it out, putting himself in a finalist situation, and the other players know that Bren has pace on this map, and it's the last, only one spot left to go into the top 4 here in the 4 finalist position. So they're gonna be sweating Kappa and Mime right now.
Yeah, they have to work together if they want to advance here. It's hard to win 3 rounds in a row, but if you can win 1 and your opponent can win 1 and you can get a bit closer, that is how they can come back here. Bren, though, a lot of pressure. He knows that he has some breathing room before the others will reach finalist. He can afford to fail a few rounds, but I think he'd rather just close it out right here, right now in the first one. If possible, he's going to try his best onto the donut drops. Still a bit ahead, but a worse setup into the drift. Mime getting closer, Mime clips, and he is out. So now Kappa is the only player that can deny him, and Mime has to hope that Kappa's able to make this overtake happen. He's going to go for a very low quarter pipe jump here. He's still 0.2 behind Bren, who just needs to land that last jump now to secure the round. Up the hill, he gets a better trajectory than Kappa. He's extending his lead into the last checkpoint. Speed is important as ever. Kappa hits the wall and has to respawn. Bren doesn't know it yet, but he does not need to risk. He secures the landing, and Bren will be our 4th top 4 finalist, joining Carl, Pack, and Mutta in the next round.
Bren really showing that he has pace on Tiny Gap, and you know he's got to feel good about it now. Like, he feels the momentum on the map, and I wonder if that's going to be presented next time we're going to be playing it. But we have our top 4 contenders, and once again, a very, very stacked field. Carl Jr., Pack, Mutta, and Bren. I think it couldn't be any closer, any tighter than what we have right here.
An incredible match, also well played from Mime and Kappa there to go into the top 6 and also put up a fight there. They both got points. They both showed why they were there, but when the rounds are decided by a few hundreds, whether in your favor or against you, it's really hard to make it into the top 4, of course. But they are among the world's best, and in future tournaments, I'm sure they will deliver as well. But here we have our final 4. Take a look. Bren, Mutta, Carl Jr., and Pack is the final 4. And Pack is the defending champion right now. Carl Jr. has won 3 TMGL trophies, winning the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th season. Bren was 4th place in the 1st season, but has yet, ever since, been in the finals. So, lacking that. And then Mutta in his first, well, not first, I think 2nd, top 4.
Yeah, but it would be the first Australian to win. And as well, if Bren gets it, it'll be the first French player to win, which is insane, because like France is known for having like a very big Trackmania community, and a lot of great players are from France. So, you know, it would be huge for them to go ahead and get one of these TMGO wins.
It would be massive. They've kind of lacked winning some of the big international titles lately. In part because of the man in yellow there, Carl Jr., just winning everything for himself. But also to take a look at the players' profiles, we have, of course, Pack, who is one of the best players, and he has been, together with Carl, very dominant over the last years. He won the World Championship in 2016, got 2nd place in 2015, won the TMGL season last time, has a 2nd and 3rd place from TMGL as well. 3 Gamers Assembly wins, and in the regular season he ended top 6 after a pretty rough start, so came back, and yeah, he's looking great this time once again.
Yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to the next couple of rounds, because once again, we're down to this top 4, which we've been used to seeing throughout the season. But it's not just a regular top 4 as we've seen all the other matches. This top 4 is the actual top 4. Like, these 4 people have fought themselves up to the top 4, and it's now duking it out. There's only going to be 2 people who go into the finals, which are going to go head-to-head on these maps.
Exactly, and that is a very interesting format. It's a best of 5, 1 versus 1, and it always leads to some classic moments. We've had Carl Jr. versus Gwen, we've had Carl Jr. versus Pack, and we've had Pack versus Offie the previous 3 seasons. Always memorable matches. So we will see which of these 4 players make it on through. Mutta, of course, with the best regular season that we've seen. 23-7 win-loss, 3 champion medals, and an clear first place in the season. But you really see that, like, on his accolades here. It's a pretty fresh career. Not a lot of titles that are displayed. He won the TMGL Open, won the campaign, got 12th in World Cup, 4th last TMGL. That's all there's to it. He's had a meteoric rise the last seasons.
Yeah, I'm looking at the at the scoreboard here for the regular season as well, and 3 out of the 4 people in the top 4 were top 3 in the regular season as well. So, you know, they've all also shown in the regular season that they have the pace and they have the skill to be here, and they continue to show it to us right now.
They absolutely do. We are going to have the players do pick and ban of the maps. Not ban, rather, but pick face. So the player who qualified first was Carl Jr. He gets to pick the first map. Second player gets to pick the second map, and so on. We'll see what they opt for. The format is changing a little bit now. So if you look at this on the final 4 part there near the bottom, now you have to win 2 tracks to qualify for the final 2. So we play a map until someone gets 4 points on it and wins it, and then you have to win 2 maps overall to qualify.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say other than it's gonna get more and more interesting, and I cannot wait to see these players duke it out one more time. And the more they play these maps, the more, you know, they're gonna be warm and gonna be ready with their, you know, with their tactics and such. I think it's just gonna be better and better pace, but it's also gonna be more and more pressure on the players.
Absolutely. If we think about the maps Carl is gonna go for here, in his first round he picked Quicksand when he had the option to choose after going second in the regular season. That map didn't really work out too well for him. He got a couple of 107s there, but really, he picked up a lot of points on Heart in the first round, and also in the second round, it was more, memory fails me here about the map name. He was really good on, Heart, I think, actually, on the second one too. So Heart might be a choice.
Looking at his stats for the win rate on the different maps here, it does look like